Hi, Stuart. What's coming up for me is asking you how I can surrender deeper to the one pointed focus, surrendering the negative psychic tension, how I can go deeper.
The answer to that is very simple, Wendy. Your need will take you as deep as you want to go. It'll take you as deep as you can possibly go. The need to grow, the need to have a spiritual life, the need to develop many aspects of your humanity, the need to truly evolve inside yourself and touch upon a much higher and more transcendental consciousness. All of that, you understand, will get you to go deeper inside yourself. If that need is real in you, then there's no limit to where you can go with it. Because the ultimate need should be to connect with higher energy in the universe, all creative energy in the universe, and allow that energy to nurture you and that energy to guide your life. So the answer is very simple, not easy to do, but simple. It, the depth that we can go within ourselves depends entirely upon how much need we have to grow and have a spiritual life, how much need we have to grow and tap creative energy in the universe. And if the need gets deeper and deeper, your experience, within yourself will become much deeper, more profound, more open, more centered, more balanced. Because as you unfold these levels of consciousness, you've got to be really strong inside yourself just to deal with them. Otherwise they can turn you into a Van Gogh, The energy is so powerful that somebody can go right off their kilter with it. So it works together. The deeper you go, the stronger you have to get inside, the more creative energy will flow through you, and the greater your capacity will be to channel that energy and to use it in your life, within yourself, on many levels.
Don't we all have a similarly deep need to grow, or it doesn't, not like that?
Wendy, I don't think everybody has that need to grow. If everybody had that need to grow, we wouldn't be living in such a crazy world. And I mean that. The world would be a very different place. People spend 98% of their time in their heads. And that is the energy that manifests around them. And that's the energy that creates the kind of insanity that goes on in politics. It's the energy that creates, a lot of craziness in the world. And most people function like that. And yes, everybody wants to be happy, they want love, but doing it is another story. Building a system inside that can enable you to have that kind of openness is a whole other story. It's not just wanting it, it's making the effort to develop within oneself a system that's strong enough so that it can manifest, it can be part of your life. I mean, years ago, I realized a very, interesting thing. Yes, you think you look at people and, oh my God, they're interesting, they're this, they're that, and then you get into their world and you discover what really goes on with most human beings. Once you're in their personal space, you really discover how complicated people are, how resistant they are, and how opinionated they are, and how full of themselves they are. They have no training. It's like trying to ask somebody to sit down and, do a Beethoven piano sonata, concerto without training. Can't do it. You got to get training to learn how to do it. or somebody to be a surgeon without training. They're dangerous. They need training. You know, inner work meditation is no different. We need training. We have to learn how to do it. And that takes time, and it takes need, and it takes perseverance, and a lot of patience with oneself. So it's not all equal, you know. I mean, it's to find a person who truly wants a spiritual life is like finding a 50-carat clear diamond. I mean, it really is true. Somebody that has that kind of need, that they truly want a spiritual life. And then you see the amount of work they're willing to do. And it's the same way with anything, you know, to be successful in business, you have to work at it. And I know all these things because I've done them, you know. If you don't work at it, the success does not come. And the most complicated and difficult job on this planet Earth is the work a human being has to do on themselves. There's nothing more complicated or difficult than that. And that's the one thing most people avoid. They refuse to do it. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Come on, ask a question. I'm on a roll here. Ask a question.
I wanted to ask a question, Stuart. Is it possible to see from a teacher point of view how advanced is a student in terms of his inner work while working in Zoom, or you have to be physically close to that student?
You know, I can see it in Zoom, and to be honest with you, the physical look, I've been having a number of people coming here for, you know, in-person classes, and the classes are very profound. And really, people change deeply. But I can also see it in Zoom. I can see people that are really doing deep work. And most people that come here do. I mean, people that come here, you know, some of you have been coming for a year and a half to this Zoom class. And there has to be a need to do this. Otherwise, you got to be crazy to sit through these classes, you know, unless you have some kind of profound need to grow and connect with the kind of Shakti that is flowing in these classes. So yes, I can see it in people, in Zoom, and not in Zoom. You know, I can feel it without even seeing the people, whether people are working on themselves or not. I mean it. The energy gets so refined, and when you're connected to people, you can truly feel what they are doing. Are they working on it? Are they not working on themselves? And generally, when people are not working on themselves, they drift away from these classes. They want to do something else, which is perfectly all right, you know? I'm not here to, you know, as I always say, I'm not here to get disciples. I'm here to give away this amazing thing I've learned in my life. I'm not getting younger, and I need to give it away. And that's the reason I do Zoom, and I have in-person classes, and this meditation is such an integral part of my life because I have to give it away. It's my responsibility to God, to Rudy, to Nityananda, to all of the teachers who have made it possible for me to be here, to give it away. So yes, one can see growth in Zoom, one can see growth in person, one can see growth when neither of those things. You can feel it and sense it in people and whether or not they're really working on themselves. And one of the biggest signs of growth is change. You understand, one doesn't do this work in order to spend their life, trying to swim in stagnant water. Change has to take place. Profound change has to take place. Creative change has to take place. I mean, Rudy always talked about, that the day you get satisfied with your life is the day your life is over. We always used to talk about a pearl is a product of an irritation in an oyster. And it's true. I mean, the gems that come are a product of an irritation that makes us work deeper on ourselves. So instead of complaining about things that are wrong, be grateful for them, because they make you work deeper on yourself. They're that irritation that creates a pearl, metaphorically, in a human being.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Keep working. You're doing very well. You're really well. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, thank
Yeah.
you for the opportunity to ask a question. How does energy and the chakras relate to our work?
Oh my God. They are our work, Robin. They are simply the work. I mean, look, I mean, look, it doesn't work, a spiritual life, just learning how to be human, unless you develop a system inside that is strong enough to do it. The chakra system is a direct link between all of us and higher energy in the universe. Chakras are like psychic muscles. You understand? They have to be worked on. If you don't work on your physical muscles, they atrophy. Even a refrigerator atrophies if it doesn't run. A car, if it stands in the garage for too long, it falls apart. Well, we have to work on the chakra system in order to develop the chakra system, because that is the link in all of us to higher energy, creative energy in the universe. You're a musician, and I always love that quote that I read about Bach. I mean, it's something extraordinary where he's dying and everybody is moaning and complaining and lamenting and, oh, Johann, you're leaving. He said, what are you all so sad about? I'm just going to where the music is. That's what this work is all about, going to where the music is, going to where all the creative energy, that manifests in the world emanates from. And if you don't develop a chakra system, you can tap it, but not in the kind of depth that I'm talking about. And also, you can tap it and it can make you crazy if you really don't have a system inside that's strong enough to deal with it. I mean, look at the greatest composers, Mozart and Beethoven. These guys were nuts. They were tapping this energy constantly and creating this extraordinary music, but their lives were a mess. Their lives were a day-to-day mess. Van Gogh, Gauguin, all these painters that were geniuses. You find out about their lives and it was just a horror story. So it's not just creating, but life itself becomes a work of art that we, allow the energy to create for us. It allows us to create music and love and family and this and that and money and friends and, You understand? And we do it with an open heart. We do it with balance, with foundation inside ourselves. And that happens if the chakra system is developed. I hope that's clear, you know, because it's a very important thing. And I think everybody has to finally come to terms with this.
Thank you.
I mean, look, I've written like a dozen books. Every one of those books would have made me crazy if I didn't have a spiritual life. I was in business. So many incredibly powerful things happened in my business that it would have driven me right up the wall if I did not. I mean, to be honest, I once lost $1.5 million 10 minutes before a meditation class. I got a phone call, this happened, and then I had to do a meditation class 10 minutes later. And the ability to stay centered without this work, I would have been, you know, tearing at the walls, you know? You know, so what I'm saying is you need grounding inside because so many different things happen in life. Never forget that class. Boy, did I have to go deep inside to maintain my balance. It was really one of the most extraordinary meditations I ever had. Getting on top of that. Now I look back and laugh, you know, because it was, you know, it was a pretty difficult situation. But anyway, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart,
Yes, Carrie.
one of my favorite things that I either heard in the tape or read that Rudy said was, it doesn't matter what you take in, what matters is what you give off. And I wondered if you were maybe there and knew the context of that.
Well, you know, it matters what you take in. You understand? You can, but you can also transform anything into spiritual energy, into Shakti. You know, then what you give off is not opinion and ego and all that garbage. It's love, it's sweetness, it's kindness, it's forgiveness. It's the ability to recognize the suffering in other people and have compassion. Understand? And I'm pretty sure that's what he meant, because that was the very essence of what he did. He was like a huge incinerator, Rudy, burning all the garbage and tension. And out of him came, it was like incense, came this sweetness and this love and this compassion for all these people that were always around him and wanting to get Shakti and energy, you know? And I think that is the essence of it. And not some superficial sweetness or this holier than thou kind of bullshit. I mean, that could drive you crazy, you know? I've seen enough of that in my life too, to know that you know, but I mean something that comes from an organic, deep place inside that is so grateful that what comes out of your heart is love and compassion and kindness, sweetness, service to higher energy in the universe, in this world. So I think he probably meant something like that, you know?
Thank you. That's very helpful and very well timed for my life. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, Kerry. You know, I mean, look, without that Rudy having that capacity, I mean, he could, you know, he would have never dealt with Stuart Perrin. I mean that. He once told me, I'll never take another student like you. He said, Rudy, I made the cut, thank God. You know? But he told me that. And, you know, what do I need students like you for? Laughed. And he also gave me a big hug one day and he said, of all my students, you're my favorite. because he saw the profound changes that took place. And he said to me, he said, you know, Stuart, you can relax. I'm sending everybody home from his house. There were 20 people living there. And I said, Rudy, you can have 20 more people come. Every single one of these people have helped me to get to God. And he said to me, that's why I invited them in the first place, because I needed you to learn that. You know, I needed you to learn that. That's unconditional love, you know? Does anyone else have a question? Okay. There'll be a class tomorrow evening. God bless you all. Thank you. And I, you know, as hard as these Zoom classes are, I am so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful that you all attend and participate in this. And I have nothing but a lot of gratitude and thank you. And there'll be a class tomorrow evening at the same time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you if you come. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Night.
your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Sending love and healing.